Hey guys, what's up? It's Mike here from The Art of Guitar. Today I wanted to show you Metallica's most confusing riffs. And what I mean by that are not necessarily the riffs that are hardest to play physically. It's the riffs that you have to time correctly that are so difficult. And that's usually when I name the riffs, you're going to see that they all have something in common. They have what I call the offbeat. Now a normal straightforward beat would just be like a 4/4 beat where it'd go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a pretty standard feel. But what Metallica does, and a lot of older thrash metal bands used to do, is the offbeat. That's what I call it. It's where the snare drum hits on every and. So it's like this: 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And that can really mess with your ear, your sense of timing when you start to speed that up, because the snare is so dominant that it makes it sound like it's the downbeat. So your ear keeps fighting to make it want to go like this: 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. When it has to stay on the other beat, it has to be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So in that battle, sometimes riffs get won or lost in that area. So you got to be really careful when you start to speed things up that you stay on track. So what I want to do is I want to do all these riffs 4 different ways. First, really slow to a standard beat so you could really feel how it works. This is going to help a lot of people get on track. Then we're going to throw the offbeat in there at a slow tempo. Then you're going to start to feel what it's really like to have those snare hits hitting on the upbeat. Then we will go to faster tempo, almost the full speed of the album, and we'll do the standard beat and then the offbeat. So eventually we're going to get to pretty close to what it really is, and if you can master it all the way up to there, you should be fine, okay? Let's give it a shot, starting with Battery. Isn't it cool to hear it with a different beat like that slowed down? It starts to make a little bit more sense. Now for a lot of us, I think we should start there and stay there for a long time until it feels good, then move on to the slow upbeat. Okay, here we go. Now don't feel bad if that's feeling weird already. I have a funny feeling James and Lars conspired to make that beat as tricky as possible. You could just tell by the way Lars is hitting the toms and the crashes that he's almost accentuating those up hits to make it feel like the downbeat. So blame it on Lars. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to the faster speed but the standard beat. So where it tends to fall apart for a lot of people is on this part. Because when they come back and hit this last part of the phrase, it's actually the one of the next beat. So it sort of throws things off in a weird way. So be conscious of that, all right? Let's move on to the fast offbeat. Okay, I'm going through these kind of fast because I want to make this video short so you can get to practicing really quick, but just make sure you spend enough time on each one of those phases, okay? Let's move on to Blackened. This one's the most tricky for me. I grew up thinking it was this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 when it's really 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So my brain's all screwed up. It was like I was living in the upside down my whole life. So now that we're back here in the real world, I think, let's go ahead and try all 4 of these phases with Blackened without too much discussion. Okay, my ear's fighting to try to bring me back to the old ways, but you gotta stay the course, okay? Now the hardest part, the one that's closest to the album. Here we go. Okay, so out of all three of those riffs, that one's the hardest for me in particular. Let's move on to Fight Fire with Fire. If you already saw my old video, you could probably skip this, but let's see what happens. The second I played it like that with a slow beat, it all made sense to me finally. Decades and decades of hearing it wrong, finally fixed. Okay, let's do the offbeat slow. One quick tip for you before we speed this up, try to tap your foot on the downbeat. So like, tap, 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 tap. Really get that downbeat in there. I kind of wish they did what they did in Blackened on Fight Fire with Fire. I wish they would have kicked into that beat at least once somewhere in the song for that riff. That would have been sweet. Okay, let's try the last one. Fast offbeat with this crazy riff. Whew, okay, I almost lost it at the end there. Caught back on. It was like I was falling off the horse a little bit and sort of centered myself right at the end. It doesn't help that my kick drum was a little bit weird on that when I recorded it, but whatever, we got through it. Okay, so you get the idea. Really, the step should be start really slow on that standard beat and lock it into your mind, okay? You got to be able to feel it and think about it the same way. And once the feel is there and once you can sort of understand it, then start to add the offbeat and then speed it up, okay? Good luck with it. Let me know if you finally catch the beat, okay? All right, guys. See ya. Bye.